Joe, you mentioned on Thursday kind of some frustration with getting down early, and happened again tonight, down by 20 with maybe 12 minutes to play in the first half. What's going through your mind at that point?
Well, the frustration was the first minute. It didn't take 20 minutes for me to get frustrated, or even the 10 minutes, or even 20. You know, the game plan was to make sure we had good defensive transition, have good half-court D, but we had to rebound. There was just no trickery that involves rebounding the basketball. And the very first possession of the night, we changed the lineup and started Alex Abrams because he is our best defensive rebounder and offensive rebounder. We said Alex in practice bangs around. So we just went with the most physical guy. Now Hank's a much better shot blocker. But for this game, blocking shots wasn't going to be nearly as important as getting rebounds. And the first possession of the night, they got 2 offensive boards and then eventually hit a three-pointer. And so my frustration was around that issue of the ability to identify the problem. Now the positive part of tonight was that we actually took care of the basketball. A lot of our leads that we have not been able to build in the last month because we've had 10 or 12 or 14 turnovers in the first half, and we don't even get good shots. So tonight we did a nice job on offense of just moving the basketball, but I think that the energy for us was, sapped out of us, sucked right out of the lungs when they got those offensive putbacks. And we go down the other end, we miss a 3, and now it looks like we have even less energy to go rebound because the rebound totals are just devastating. We got out-rebounded 43-22. I mean, it just they had 13 offensive boards, and we concentrated on it, and videoed on it, and changed the lineup for it. And at the end of the day, their horses were bigger, stronger, better, and they were more prepared. And I obviously didn't get our guys to understand it. We showed it. The nice part is we get practice on Monday. It's a national holiday, so guess what? We're gonna have 2 hours of study hall. We're gonna have an hour in the weight room. We're gonna have an hour in the film room, and we're gonna have an hour in the court. And it's gonna be aggressive. And we just got to continue to develop the bodies. We have scrappy kids. I love the scrappiness of the seniors. We have competitive kids. We have coachable kids. But we don't have physically aggressive or nasty kids. And I've been saying that all year long, is that we've got to be able to develop a grit and a toughness. That's why Mark Crow's in the starting lineup right now. But Mark's a 6'5" redshirt freshman, and he's one of the most aggressive guys on our team. Donovan's very aggressive, but Donovan's 5'10", 160 pounds. He doesn't push people around. He jets around them. So it's pretty easy to identify what our biggest weakness is, and that's being his weakness. And obviously that's on me from a recruiting perspective, trying to continue to develop recruitment of bigger bodies at every position.
That first possession you mentioned, it was like, I think 1 minute and 5 seconds long and ended in a three-pointer. But you guys got down by 20, and then again, I mean, I said it's like a carbon copy of the other night where you're down even single digits at halftime somehow. You came out in the second half, and it seemed like you guys were kind of trying to claw back, got it within 5 or 6 a number of times.
I think we got down to 5, and we were on the free throw line for a 1-on-1 towards the end there when Marcellus was on the free throw line. It was not a 6-point game or 5? 6 and a front end of 101 to bring it down to 4, maybe keep that crowd involved in the game and keep that energy going. Right. And he missed the front end of that, and I think that we felt a little bit of that energy. But let's address the fact is if you don't get down by 20, you get down by 10, that puts us in a position where we're ahead by 6 at that point. And that changes the energy level of what we got going on. So the bad news is we've got a real problem starting the game off well. The good news is we have clearly identified what our problem is. It's not like we're losing the game 16 different ways. We just simply are as slow a starting team as I've coached in 30 years. I've never had a team that consistently gets off this, and we've tried everything. And try to talk more, talk less, change the lineup, change offense, change defense. What do we got to do to get it flowing? But the good news is we still got another game on Thursday.
UC Irvine and UC Davis are 2 tough defensive teams that you had this week at home. Irvine guards, to me, were as physical and kind of savvy with little things as I've seen opposing guards this season. What did you see out of them? I mean, they're a top 3 team in the conference right now. They seem like a pretty solid and fundamentally sound.
I think one of the things that their guards really benefit from is the physicality of all the screens that they have, and they get to use a lot of screens. They got called for a couple of the screens, but they're going to set 15 or 20 or 25 physical screens that wear your bodies down, that wear your defenders down, and then the guards have space to play them. So they'll wear you down. They got probably 5 big guys that they rotate inside there, anywhere from 6'8" to 6'10", anywhere from 220 to 290, and they use it really good to help their guards. So I think that their guards get more confidence in there with those big guys setting those screens. And I also was hopeful that tonight we might get a little bit more out of Carlos Garroza. He's been out for a month with his knee. Tonight was a real game we could have used him, but he played about 4 minutes and just looked real rusty and slow and out of it. And he's only practiced 2 days. He's missed 4 weeks and practiced 2 days and played 10 minutes now, 5 minutes the other night, 5 tonight. So he's clearly not ready to be a major contributor. So where maybe we could move him to the 4 spot even and play big with some of the more physical teams. But right now it's not an option.
Do you think he's got some of that nastiness in him?
Carlos is. I mean, the part about the recruiting that we did over the last couple years was Mark Crow, we thought had some toughness and some physicality, some length to guard the bigger guards in the Big West. And he's just a freshman. And Carlos Garroza is 6'8", 225. He's got some strong hands, physical, likes to hit bodies. He actually gets off the ground really well. You couldn't tell that right now because of his knee damage, but when we see him fresh and a little movement is really aggressive there. So, our freshmen are 2 of the most physical, aggressive guys that we have, and we'll be bringing in another 6'3" Junior Ballard as a 6'3" guard. Tonight I thought it was great to hit. Marcellus had been out for probably 7 and 8 days with the flu, and then had some real poor practices with that energy level, after missing that. And then tonight it was nice to get a spark off him, but he's physical enough to go ahead and drive to the hoop, defend somebody, and go get that rebound. He mixed it upside there and was able to get a rebound in there, and I think that'll be beneficial.
CSUN lost tonight. UC Riverside was beating Hawaii, I think, in the last 5 minutes or so of the game by 1 or 2 points. Could be a 3-way tie for 7th at the end of tonight with games against CSUN and Riverside coming up. How do you get your guys kind of ready to go for senior night? Obviously, you got Luke and you got Vic, and somebody mentioned Alex as well. As kind of being the seniors this year.
The thing that is so critical is we got to forget about senior night. Senior night, junior night, prom night. It doesn't matter what night it is. It matters if you're gonna do the basic things in basketball, and that's setting hard screens, making hard cuts, blocking somebody off that they get upset because you hit them too hard. We just have to become a more physical team. I mean, I don't want to have sentimental conversation about senior night. I don't want to have sentimental conversations about end of somebody's career. Well, you don't want your career to end. Let's just keep on playing. We don't win a couple of these games. Our career's gonna be over earlier than they want, and that's about blood and guts. It's not about sentimental approaches and getting a picture of yourself or something like that. And I think Victor Joseph gets that, and Luke Meek will get that, and Alex is a 4th-year graduate, so he has the option to move on. Highly unlikely he'll be going to graduate school here, so he'll be going through senior grad, and a chance that maybe he's here for a 5th year, but we'll play him out as a grad student now. And so those 3 guys they're battlers, and sure they want to go out, but I'm not gonna make a big deal of that. It's got to be made. Big deal is made about rebounding, taking care of the ball, moving the ball. That's got to be. You got to focus on the little things in life here. It's the only way to survive from day to day. Forget about this. It'll take care of itself.
What are your thoughts there on Victor Joseph's game tonight? Because he was really turning on towards that end of that first half.
Well, the important thing that's going on with Vic, and that is we've been able to play him. He missed a couple threes that I thought were going to go in and out, but Vic's floor game is right. We moved him over to, when Don is out, we moved Vic over to point guard. We just felt like we needed a little more scoring and experience in there. Isaiah has had some good games, and then he has some inconsistencies that go along with his game. And Vic moving over the point, that kind of helped us out there a little bit. I think he struggled a little bit more the other night, but he was comfortable using the on-ball screens and getting to the paint and being pretty effective in there. The nice part about Vic tonight, I thought, was he played 31 minutes, had 2 assists and 0 turnovers, and was still scoring the ball. And he's got 16 points, leading scorer. He leads us in assists and scoring, 31 minutes. It's pretty good.
Obviously, we've been talking about the slow start that you guys had for this game. Do you think that was affected at all by going to triple overtime the other night?
I would love to use triple overtime for an excuse for our team, but I'm just not a big excuse guy because we've had slow starts 19 times. We've had 19 times in which we've had to try to dig back and fight back, and I think 12 or 13 of those times we were actually behind and then either tied it or went ahead. And so, we can come up with some excuses, but I got to come up with solutions. And if that means, again, we tried everything from video to lineups to offensive tweaks and so forth. I think it really just comes down to you make your first couple, the energy shifts the other way. The leadership on the court has got to continue to develop and grab each other. Let's go. We can't call that many times. I was telling assistant coaches, I said, all right, what I'm going to do is maybe call 3 timeouts in the first 10 minutes of the game so that we could feel like it's halftime already. And then we'll come out and we'll play really well there, I mean, anything to change that momentum of our slow start. So good news is we know the problem. Bad news is we know the problem and we haven't figured out how to solve it yet. And so, we get a chance to keep on working on that, and we get our last home game to try to do that. And it's not just a home game; it's a game that tells us whether we have a better chance or not to get to the Big West tournament. And we're fighting for the Big West tournament right now. So there's no guarantee that that's in play. We have to get that going. Maybe that's the urgency that we need. Like, hey, this is it. I hate to think that's the urgency that we need. And I'm hoping that we would just be ready to go every time. We're going to look at some things in practice still too, because we're going to have a very, very aggressive practice on Monday.
All right.